February 23rd. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, the man you've all been waiting for, and J.P. Shadrick.
Oh, yeah, the wait is over because the hiatus is over. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Thursday. Yes, I am J.P. Shadrick. That's Joe Fortunato. Brent Reber on the video side today. No Jeff Lageman. He's out, and we'll be out next week at the Combine, so you won't see him for a couple weeks or hear from him in a couple weeks. So we got a jam-packed show here on 1010XL, AM, Jaguars.com, Jags Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Well, it's off-season business time. The franchise tag window is open. The start of the league year begins mid-March. We'll get into some of the Jaguar possibilities throughout this show. We'll hear from Pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor in about 5 minutes' time. See what he's been up to this offseason. He's been busy on the pivot as always. Senior writer John Oehser, about 4:15 or so. We'll hear from Johnny O and discuss some of that offseason business and preview our trip to Indianapolis next week for the NFL Scouting Combine. And then NFL Network, ESPN, SiriusXM, Westwood One analyst Ryan Leaf joining us at 4:30 today, former number 2 overall pick in the 1998 draft. We've got the 98 draft on lockdown today with Fred Taylor, the 9th overall pick, Ryan Leaf at number 2 in that draft. We'll catch up with Ryan, see what he's been up to, and get his thoughts on the Jaguars' run in 2022 and some of the off-season moves that are possible in the NFL. And, of course, we'll go around the NFL at the end of the program today. So, off-season is underway. We had a few weeks down after the end of the playoff run here in our offices, but they have been busy over on the other side, of course. That it was a quick turnaround after the loss in the divisional round in Kansas City. 2 days later, the players are gone, and it's just a quick move forward to the offseason business. And as we said, the league year begins in mid-March, so you got to get down to the salary cap before then. There's a number of pending free agents for the Jaguars that you've got to figure out, hey, do we want to get these guys back? Can we sign some of these players early? Do you let them go to marketplace and come back? And there's a lot of questions around that, of course. And one of the biggest names in that regard, of course, is Evan Ingram, who has been a big topic this offseason already because of his production. He had a career year in a 1-year prove-it deal with the Jaguars last season. He was on SiriusXM Radio this week, on SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88, and they asked him about the possibility of the franchise tag being applied and his thoughts.
It's a hypothetical, so it could happen, it could not. But, if that happens, I think that'll be a placeholder, to get something done. I think that's just kind of just the way I feel about it. And if it does come to that, there'll be conversations had with my team, and we'll move forward from there. But if that does happen, I'm going to be blessed either way, and we'll figure something out long term that can, both sides will be happy with.
Well, he also said in that interview that both sides are interested still. As he also said there hasn't been a lot of talk yet, but the talk's coming because the league year begins in just a couple weeks' time. And what a year it was, as we said. Career highs in catches, 73 of those. In yardage, 766 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, and he was fantastic. His first touchdown came Week 8 in London, and then he finished things strong. And a big piece of this passing offense last year. And, they're going to have an addition, hopefully, in Calvin Ridley as well to go with it. So, you throw that in the mix, and then Ingram and everything else that's going on here in this offense. And this is gearing up to be a fantastic offensive group. Trevor Lawrence going into year 3, year 2 in this offense. Everything could be adding up. They'll have some different coaches around them, though. Wide receiver coach Chad Hall has joined the team. And passing game coordinator Nick Holes added officially today. That announcement came out, replacing Jim Bob Cooter. And Cooter is now in Indianapolis as the offensive coordinator there. Holes spent last year at UNLV as the offensive coordinator. A number of years before that, about a decade with the Raiders in a number of different roles, a little bit down the ladder in Las Vegas. But Holes now the passing game coordinator for the Jaguars. He'll have some pieces to work with. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL and Jaguars.com. J.P. Shadrick with you. Jeff Lageman out this week. Former first-round pick quarterback Ryan Leaf coming up at 4:30 today. He was a part of that 1998 draft, as was pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor, who joins us right now. Fred, it's good to talk to you. Happy 2023, and thanks for the time today, man. What's up?
My pleasure, JP, man. I appreciate you. Happy 2023. It's been a while.
It's been a few weeks, I guess. We just had some time away. This is the first show back on Happy Hour since the end of the postseason run. And, it happens quick, right? You lose in the postseason, then 2 days later, the players are gone, and you're looking ahead to the business of the offseason. And there is some business to attend to for the Jags, Fred. They've got to figure out the salary cap. They've got to figure out with 14 pending free agents, something like that. How many of those guys come back? This team won, so the players say the right things at the end of the season. We want everybody back. Well, it's just not possible that way, Fred. So how do you prioritize some of those guys?
JP, you hit it on the head, man. It's a lot. It's a tall order, but it's a quick turnaround, it seems. I know the fans can get a bit, impatient, after basketball is done and baseball is a little slow and fans want football, but it's just the process of it all. And, I'm with you. You won't be able to get everybody back. It always sounds good at the end of the season, but it's not possible. But I think you start with, the salary cap, crunching those numbers, see where you are and see what type of flexibility you have. And then you prioritize from there. I've been reading some stuff, and I also thought at the end of the season that Evan Ingram would be someone that they would, target high on that priority list. And then they have to figure out what they want to do from a, defensive standpoint. I think building around Trevor, they've done a good job there at the receiving core. And then you also add, Calvin Ridley once he's reinstated, which I thought was an amazing get and grab, when nobody was thinking it. So, they're tight at the running back position as well. So they got to tighten up some other areas, but it's still early. The combine is among us, so they'll figure it out here shortly.
Fred Taylor with us. You mentioned Ridley, and yeah, he applied for reinstatement. I think the 15th was the first day he could do it, and he applied. So there's no real timetable on the decision from Park Avenue, New York, if he's reinstated or when that could be. But when he's back, what can you expect from him, Fred? I mean, he played 5 games 2 seasons ago. He was suspended all of last year, so he hasn't played football in a while. Now, Bucky Brooks told us on a podcast yesterday he's hearing that he's in fantastic shape and all that. That's great, Fred, but that's a little different than football shape, isn't it? And what can you expect when he finally gets back out there?
He's one of those guys who, he's simply just a natural talent. He's only in year 5. He's a guy who's, I love his run after the catch ability. He has extremely soft hands. He's a standout back at Alabama. He understands the game. He understands the position, and he's a Florida boy. So I'm always rooting for him, and I think he will be reinstated. I mean, guys have done worse. I don't condone, things that are against the rules. I think you follow the rules, but at the same time, a bit of a touch foul with what he did, considering the direction of the NFL, that the NFL is going with gambling, etc. But again, I think he will be reinstated. I think he'll be a weapon for the Jaguars. He might just come and, find his way into the, the number 2 or the number 1 slot. He's just that good. And I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll knock the rust off and get back into tip-top form as he was when he, when he was at his best.
Fred, how this is an offseason without much change. This is a stable organization for the first time in a long time in terms of the coaching staff. Only a couple of changes, wide receiver coach, passing game coordinator. Everybody else is back there. Most of the core of the football team should be back around, as a couple of the free agents here or there, but the core nucleus of guys, quarterback, receivers, a couple of the offensive linemen, right? So that's a huge step if you can get to that point where you're stable from one year to the next. It just hasn't happened in a few years around here, and you can't really underestimate the importance of that once you begin the offseason program.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000,000% this time. I usually say 1,000%, but 1,000,000% this time, JP. In that I used to say it all the time. Consistency. That's what it takes. At least that's the foundation of growing and going further and finding that success, finding your way deep in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. You got to have consistency. You got to have players in the system that are returning each and every year. Maybe a nucleus of 8 of the 11 guys. You want to make sure that they're returning each and every year so that they can play fast. And it doesn't take much for a coordinator to get the younger or the newer guys, ingrained and situated in the system. I always looked at a team such as the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were the one team that, for 8, 9, 10-year period, you see the same guys on that defense. You look on the offense, for the most part, it's the same guys. It's a plug and play type of system. And you have to have that consistency. So back in the day, JP, I can remember vividly, under the Del Rio regime, it was a new coach, like 2 or 3 new coaches or someone fired each and every offseason. I'm like, you're playing chess. These guys are pawns, and you're, crazy, distractionary mindset. I don't know. You sort of deflect from what you're doing by getting rid of everybody else when you simply should just start with yourself. And I think we have so much integrity from top down now, starting with Doug Peterson, and it trickles throughout his staff, I believe. So I look forward to watching this team grow over the next couple of years.
Last thought with you here, Fred. What's going on with the pivot these days? Still successful? It's everywhere on social media. It really blasted off this past season. You're obviously a huge piece of that. So what do you have on the docket coming up with the pivot?
The pivot is making its rounds, man. We're still growing, still enjoying the grind. We're always on the go. We had to pivot, pun intended, and change our plans this week. We were scheduled to go out to Denver and knock out like three shows out there. We had hoped to grab 4 or 5, but the weather was kind of tricky, so we decided to come here to South Florida and shoot today. So we'll have a shoot here at 5:30. Trying to grab 2. When we go, we try to get at least 2 or better, but sometimes you have that one big fish and you just got to take it. But it's been fun. I've learned a lot. I enjoy the guests. I'm a fanboy a lot of the time of a lot of the guests. And I love picking their brains or ask questions about stories that we've heard. So the pivot is doing pivot things, man. And I never thought I would be on a podcast talking a lot.
Yeah,
all the time. And it's fun. So, check it out. The Pivot.
The Pivot. He's all over ESPN now with that and everywhere. Social media.
On,
check it out.
On.
You're a TV star,
ESPN.
Fred. You look every Wednesday. I look up at the lunchroom and there's Fred Taylor talking to Stephen A. I'm like, okay, he's not on ESPN. You're sitting right there.
That's RC's. That's Ryan's connection. So, they see what we're doing and they see we like to have a good time and we try to, be open when we give our takes. So, First Take has been really fun and cool, to be able to host that show and what the people think of us over there. It's pretty much an open invitation. So we enjoy that. But yeah, man. And you know what? Let me do this, JP, before we shut it down.
Yeah, man.
The Duval Till We Die people sent me a box of 3 hats. This isn't even my favorite one, but it's nice because it has the Army fatigue. And I got on my favorite Jaguar hoodie of all time. This is like, I don't know, 8, 10 years old. But yeah, shout out to these people, man. I think this was sweet. Whoever took that and ran with it, congrats. And I appreciate the hat. So big shout out to y'all.
Big shout out to you, Fred. Thanks for the time. Always good to visit. And we'll talk again soon, hopefully.
Yes, we will, JP. I'll see you.
Fred Taylor, pride of the Jaguars running back. Yeah, he's loaded up. He's got the camouflage bill on the hat. He's got the military appreciation sweatshirt. You know who else is loaded up is John Oehser, Jaguars.com senior writer, who joins us in just a moment. The 2023 season is on the horizon, and you won't want to miss it. So lock in your seats at the bank this fall. Place your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets. Seat selection is coming soon, and the perfect spot is waiting for you. Don't watch the Jags become kings of the jungle from your couch. Join the Jaguars now. 4:30, it's Ryan Leaf. John Oehser is next. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
I'm Dr. Hughes, cardiovascular surgeon. The Florida Lottery has contributed billions of dollars to education, putting kids like me on the path to success.
And they've awarded countless Bright Future scholarships, helping me pursue higher education.
So I can do more than just dream of a brighter future.
I can create one.
The Florida Lottery is proud to help fund the futures of students all across our state. Learn more at flalottery.com/education.
It's here, Ford Truck Month. Come and get the best deals of the year on the only trucks built Ford tough. Drive home the rugged Ford F-150, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck 46 years straight and counting. But hurry in because these deals won't last forever. It's Ford Truck Month. Don't miss it. Come and get it at your local Ford dealer. Based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
As the official dentist of the Jacksonville Jaguars, ASAP Dental is a champion of the dental game. Let them win you over with full-service dental care and the same-day smile you deserve. Open 7 days a week, ASAP Dental has 8 locations to serve you in the Northeast Florida area. So come see them today. With their exceptional experience and care, you're always treated as the MVP. Visit asapdentalcare.com or call 904-500-2727 to book your appointment today.
Travel Camp RV, official RV dealer of the Jacksonville Jaguars, invites you to come shop their huge selection of inventory for your dream RV. With locations across the Southeast, you're sure to find them close by. Get value pricing on the top RV brands in the country, paired with the guaranteed best financing options available. You can also shop their inventory at travelcamp.com. Travel Camp RV has helped more families make more great memories in an RV since 1982. They're excited to add you to the Travel Camp RV family today.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't look at it like that. I think, we're paid to do a job, and that job's to put the best product we can out on the field. And I've never listened to the noise. The noise doesn't determine the decisions that we're going to make as an organization. And I think the best thing you can do when there's a lot of noise is put earplugs in, and just go about your job. And that's what we tried to do. And again, there's never one person that makes these decisions. It's a group decision, organizational decision. Doug and I are very much involved together in this process, and we involve everybody underneath us to the nth degree. I mean, there's just a lot of collaboration that people don't see behind the scenes.
Trent Baalke, Jaguars general manager, a couple of days after the end of the playoff run. He spoke, I believe, 3 days after the game. Players and Doug Peterson spoke 2 days after the game. He was the day after that. So it would have been, Tuesday after the divisional round. Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick. No Jeff Lageman this week. He'll be out for a couple weeks. We'll be in Indy next week, so we'll have a show from the Indiana Convention Center right next to Lucas Oil Stadium next week at the NFL Scouting Combine. If you're ready to renew your season tickets, the time is now. Renew before March 8th, and you'll have a chance to win a scratch pack prize. And those prizes range from signed merchandise to full-on experiences. So lock in your seats today. Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser joining us now here on the desk in studio. Good to see you, Johnny O. What's up?
I've had a few full-on experiences in my day,
I would
JP.
say so. You are well experienced. Certainly. And
now we're back this week, right?
We're back. We did podcast.
Drive Time Tuesday, podcast. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Everywhere you want to be. I think that's taken. But, that's what we are this week. Huddle up yesterday with Bucky Brooks, and we'll be at the Combine next week. And hey, how many Combines, if you had to add them up, have you covered in your past?
My first one was 2001, and I've been at every one of them except the ones they didn't have since then, meaning COVID 2021, they didn't have one. Yeah. 20, they had one right before COVID started, and last year we were back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
21 would have been the one they missed. Yep.
So I guess 21, that's going to be my 21st, I guess, or in that range. Because I did my first one when I was covering the Jags for the Times-Union 01, was in Indy forever, and only had to drive there. So, yeah, it's I don't have the same I did cover it before there was podium access. Yeah. Before coaches went on the podium, and it was dramatically different.
Chase
friends of mine and Pete Prisco, some other writers who covered it about 10 years before that, it will tell you it is the most remarkably changed event over the last 30 years in the NFL. Yep. Because there was a time where I think Pete has stories of being there with 5 or 6 other writers. Mm-hmm. It's the explosion of coverage on that event, and the NFL's ability to make what essentially is a very boring event to cover, because watching guys run 40s is not that exciting, but they have made it a event on the calendar that you would have never dreamed it was 20 years ago.
And the funny thing is,
it's a must-go now.
Yeah, and we'll get into a lot of this, of course, next week in Indianapolis throughout our coverage on Jaguars.com, but it's really 2 different events now.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go not cover the testing or the 40s or any of that, because that starts Thursday with different position groups and goes for a few days after that. We're out of town on Friday. We're chasing GM and coach and getting thoughts on the run last year and the offseason ahead, and that's the big mile marker for us in the offseason.
Yeah, it has turned into a convention, information, a reset time. And by that, I mean this is the time where everybody goes up. I think it's a good thing. Everybody goes up wanting to talk to their GM and their coach. It's a chance for the GM and the coach to answer some big questions, or in most cases, talk around a lot of big questions.
The can down the road.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Well, or address. And again, our big questions next week will be, hey, Jawan Taylor, Evan Ingram, resetting, looking ahead to the draft. Well, nobody really expects Trent Baalke to come out and say, hey, we're going to do this, and that's fine. But you'll get an idea. You'll have a little better feel for the direction of the team and sort of what they want to do. You'll have things to talk about and discussion points. And again, the NFL has done a masterful job of that's the nice sort of lead up to free agency. And then free agency hits about 2 weeks after that, and away you go.
John Oehser with us. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It's our first show back after a brief hiatus after the playoff run. JP Shadrick with you. We mentioned a couple of those names. I think the free agent list is 14, 15 guys that are pending unrestricted free agents for the Jaguars. Who would be the number one priority of that list, in your opinion? Because you mentioned a couple names there, and I think you could go either way.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth. When I was asked right after the season, I said Jawan Taylor, because I think he's really important to their offensive line, and I think the 2 ones everybody's talking about more than any are Jawan Taylor and Evan Ingram, but Arden Key's important. Those are the 3 that to me stand out. Smoot would be higher on my list had it not been for the Achilles.
Yeah, that's tough.
But he's an important entity. Out of Taylor and Ingram, I honestly have gone back and forth. Taylor's really important because offensive line play, you want to protect that quarterback, and he had a very good season last year. And he's particularly important conceptually because remember last year they talked so much about wanting to re-sign their own guys. And here is a guy, if you re-sign him, then you've re-signed your 2 tackles. That's a foundation point. They wanted to do that last year, so it's important.
I guess the question there, though, is, how much money can you really throw at the offensive line? The answer might be there's not enough money. You could throw as much as you want at the offensive line.
Well, and that would put them in huge contracts at 3 of the 5 positions for this year. But then after this year, some of the contracts that got signed last year aren't necessarily as they're not to the point where you have to keep those guys. If a situation where you thought Walker Little was absolutely ready to be that left tackle, then next year Cam Robinson's contract is not as.
It doesn't.
I can't even find the word.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah,
it doesn't chain you to him.
That's right.
So it gives you flexibility, and then after next year you can make that decision. So again, I think they would love to get Jawan Taylor back, and I would guess they're prepared to pay a very high number to do that. And yet at some point there's always a number you can't go past. I think that's a huge question. And Evan Ingram at that position, I think they not desperately, but they very much want to get a long-term deal done. I think he wants to get a deal done.
Sounds like it.
And I think the tag, bare minimum, I think they would use the tag late in the process to give them time to figure out other cap situations to make it more workable to sign Evan to a long-term deal. I would be shocked if Evan's not here. I would not be shocked if Jawan's not here, even though I think both sides very much want that to happen too.
Because the number will be much different, right? I mean, the number that Jawan Taylor is going to command is going to be, in theory, much higher.
Well, and even the tag with Jawan,
it's $18 million.
Yeah, and that's a big difference. Even in NFL money, where everything's sort of play money, that's a big difference than the 11. I think it would be. It's not play money to the guy signing the checks.
I was going to say, yeah, who's spending this money?
Well, but you know the point.
Yeah.
So even that $7 million is a big difference in terms of trying to get to a cap number this year. And then the one people aren't really talking about that much, Arden Key is pretty important in that. I mean, he was as consistently and reliably as impactful as any Jaguars pass rusher last year. Andrew Wingard was important in terms of a lot of things in this locker room. Chris Manhertz is very interesting to me because you can say that he was the X number tight end, but he was important to that running game. And, you want to get guys like that back. You want to keep guys like that in the fold. So a lot of interesting specifics to ask about next week.
Calvin Ridley will be asked about, I'm sure, if there's not a resolution before next week, and they may not have an answer next week either for those questions that are sure to come in Indianapolis, but it is one of the big pieces of the offseason. I think his contract's, about $11 million?
For next year.
For next year.
That's the contract.
So last year of his contract, because it told over to this year. So this will be his 5th year in the NFL. He's a first-round pick. So here you go, 1-year kind of prove-it deal for Ridley once he is reinstated. And, we were talking to Fred about it. It's been a topic all offseason, what he could bring to this offense. But first off, just got to get him back reinstated. Mm-hmm. Second, get him pitching the ball around with Trevor somewhere. I'm sure they'll go on their own somewhere and do some of that like they did last year, of course, with the rest of the guys. I think they went to the Bahamas or something. That's not outside of the realm of possibility. And then the offseason program is mid-April, the strength and conditioning, and then they're on the field for OTAs, and that's how you start building that chemistry. Yeah. Well, and that's the important part is actually getting on the field together.
I think the nice thing for the franchise and for him in this is, they acquired him in very low-risk fashion for the potential that it could have at the high end, and you have a situation where you have a very functioning offense around him, because I do think you'll bring Evan Ingram back. So now if there are 6 key pieces in terms of the offensive skill positions around here, meaning quarterback, running back, and tight end and 3 receivers, you've got the other 5 all returning, all feeling like there was a lot of chemistry. So while you believe and while the reputation is that Calvin Ridley has the ability to be a 1, if he's a 3 to start off with, well, then you're basically plugging him for the Marvin Jones role, and you saw last year you can function at a very high level with those other 5 playing a huge role and Marvin Jones making key catches. If that starts out as Ridley's role and he needs time to grow into bigger role, okay, then you're the 10th best offense in the NFL, which they were last year. I'm saying theoretically. As he grows, how much better can they get? I think it's an ideal situation for Calvin to come into. And I don't know if it felt as ideal when he first got traded because it was in November.
And they weren't playing that well yet.
And then the last 2 months, I think you felt what this offense can be. So I think there's as little pressure on Ridley coming in as there possibly could be for a receiver coming in his situation. Very good situation for Ridley.
Johnny, looking forward to going back to Indy with you. It's been a few years since I've been up with you, so this should be a fun week next week once we get up there and settled.
Yeah, it's really the week, I think most fans know this, where you really set the tone for the off-season. You get a lot more talking points and you get a much better feel for where the team is than right now. And it's a chance for GM, coach, other people to sort of come out of the bunker, if you will. They've now had the conversations. We all want to know desperately what's going on. Well, probably until a couple weeks ago, they didn't know their process.
That's true.
So now they're much more ready. So it's a perfect time to have this kind of opportunity.
Thanks for the time, Johnny. Good to see you.
I look forward to seeing you on Monday, JP.
Catch his writing, Jaguars.com. They've had, he and Bucky have had, Bucky Brooks, might have heard of him, have had reviews of position groups that have started on Jaguars.com. Quarterback was the other day. That was a pretty good year for that position group. I think running backs went up today. What's next, John?
It'll be wide receiver, tight end, and I'm telling you, as you go through what you learn, JP, wow, were they healthy and consistent at so many positions, and where they got injured, they had the depth to cover for it. So see if that can hold true next year.
That's John Oehser, senior writer, Jaguars.com. Up next, Ryan Leaf joining us. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Reconnect with the best version of you at AMARA Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, AMARA Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field. Pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
I'm Dr. Hughes, cardiovascular surgeon. The Florida Lottery has contributed billions of dollars to education, putting kids like me on the path to success.
And they've awarded countless Bright Future scholarships, helping me pursue higher education.
So I can do more than just dream of a brighter future.
I can create one.
The Florida Lottery is proud to help fund the futures of students all across our state. Learn more at flalottery.com/education.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build a home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't think we even really clicked fully until probably halfway through the season. So just to look at that and the amount of growth that we had in 1 year, just the jump that we'll be able to make from year 1 to 2 is really exciting. And obviously it's going to take a lot of work, and it's the same thing that we did last year to prepare ourselves for this year. We gotta do that in the off season and get together, and we will. And after we take a little bit of time and really rest to get our minds right and get ready to make a run.
That's Trevor Lawrence, of course, Jaguars quarterback after year 2, a career season for him, and really the back half of the season was what the focus was after a rough first half. JP Shadrick with you. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday after our brief hiatus following the playoff run. Jeff Lageman out this week. He'll join us in a couple weeks. We'll be at the Combine next week in Indy, with shows from the Indiana Convention Center. We're on 1010 AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The podcast available on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Jacksonville Jaguars. And our next guest, by the way, our thanks to Fred Taylor, 1998 9th overall pick, and John Oehser, Jaguars.com senior writer. We've got the 98 draft covered today because Ryan Leaf is up next. He was the number 2 pick in that draft, and he's the hardest working man in show business these days. You're everywhere, Ryan. NFL Network, ESPN, SiriusXM, Westwood One, PointsBet. It's great to talk with you, man. How are you?
Good to see you, brother. It's been a little while.
Been a little bit. What was that, November? Yeah. Somewhere in there. We were out in L.A. together, did the Southern Cal UCLA game at the Rose Bowl, and spent a little time together, you and the family. Good to see you again. And here we are. I mean, I don't know how you find time for other things. I mean, you're working constantly, and then you go speak to groups about your path and everything that's come with it. So your plate is full right now, it feels like.
It is. But I wouldn't have it any other way, simply because, idle hands for me, idle mind is not a good place to be for a long period of time. So I've kind of developed this mindset of being a shark, always moving. And it's seemed to have served me well over the last, 8 years or so. Having a 5-year-old helps that, because now I'm chasing his little tail around everywhere. And he's the most important piece of the puzzle right now.
Ryan Leaf with us. We just heard from Trevor Lawrence there, and what a season it was both ways. It was, he had just so many ups and downs this year. First half, throwing interceptions, 4 fumbles in a game in Philadelphia. Things aren't going well. First and goal interception in London against Denver. That was really the turning point, he said. And then he started to protect the football, and things went well the rest of the way. Then, of course, he has the 4-turnover game in the playoffs and turns it around, and they rally back and win. So he really covered the gamut of this season. But, moving ahead, building off that, how do you build off a season like Trevor Lawrence just had?
Oh, well, I think there's a ton to build off of, right? I think there was an incredible success. There's the winning the division. There's getting to the playoffs. And there's also the mindset that one can struggle, right, and find a way to overcome. The fact that I just, I only threw 4 interceptions a couple times in my career, but there's no way if I threw 4 in the first half, I would have had the fortitude to come back and do what he did in the playoff game against the Chargers. I mean, that's the individual that he is he can throw it away. put it behind him and move on, and the guys trust him. And Doug Peterson's going to continue. We watch the jump from year 1 to year 2. That's where everybody looks at. And I know this is year 3 for him, but he really didn't have a year 1, and everybody should understand that fully. Urban Meyer was an absolute dumpster fire for a young rookie quarterback like that. And so what Doug Peterson's been able to bring to the table this year and how he's performed, I think, is so special. I expect a big leap, a big jump, especially taking care of the football a year from now.
And just hearing him talk, like he gets his role in the organization and what he says matters and how he goes about that. And I think that he has the respect of that locker room too. You have to earn that kind of thing. And I think he has so far, right?
Yeah, you do. The performance in the second half alone in a playoff game when everybody in their dog would have just packed it in and said, oh, start licking their wounds. Let's get ready for next year, to stay the course. And so everybody in that locker room got to witness what I think everybody had seen all year long, the work ethic, the championship quality level of him. And, he set himself up. And with the coaching change, they've set themselves up. The young talent all around the roster, they continue to make great moves on the roster in terms of what they do, putting together that kind of talent, young talent, in fact, hitting it right in the draft. The Jags are gonna be a team, right? They're gonna be a team that vies for a championship, and that's difficult in such a packed AFC. I mean, on the list, they're probably, they're behind Kansas City, they're behind Cincinnati, they're behind Buffalo. You could argue they're behind Los Angeles, right, with the quarterbacks in terms of play, but Trevor's going to take them to a new level, right? And the AFC over the next decade is going to be just so fun to watch because it's going to be so darn competitive.
Quarterbacks, pass rushers, everybody's got them in the AFC, it feels like. Ryan Leaf is with us. And, the quickest path to the playoffs is to win the division, obviously. So, in the AFC South right now, Ryan, the Jaguars are in the catbird seat, it feels like. The Titans are trimming guys to get down to the salary cap. They cut 4 guys the other day. And the running back isn't getting any younger, by the way. Houston has a long way to go. New coach. Indy doesn't have a quarterback. We'll see what they do. But, the Jaguars should be in command of this division for a little bit.
You'd hope so.
I would say so.
I'd be interested to see what Indy does, whether they try to make a move to draft a quarterback or if they try to make some big swing at one of these franchise quarterbacks that may go on the market. Lamar Jackson being one of them.
What should they do? What should they do, in your opinion, then, Ryan, in Indy?
I would trade away whatever they needed to get Lamar Jackson if he's not given the exclusive tag. And then build around that. I think you add that. I think the defense is good. I think what they've been looking for is a veteran quarterback. They needed a young veteran quarterback. Carson Wentz wasn't the answer, clearly. That's something I would do. I'd look around. I understand that Bryce Young, it's just so hard to know whether or not a first-round quarterback's going to make it or not, the right place. Doesn't matter. You could be the greatest player in the world. You don't go to the right place. Circumstances, all the things there just isn't a Trevor Lawrence in this year's draft or a Joe Burrow. So, are you willing to take what you know and Lamar Jackson's an MVP in this league, or you want to go with a rookie that could become an MVP? I don't think if there was a Joe Burrow or a Trevor Lawrence, then it's a no-brainer. I'm calling Chicago if I'm the Colts and saying, hey, I need to move to number 1, and so let's get it done.
Ryan Leaf joining us. Well, let's stay on the quarterback conversation. Aaron Rodgers came out of his darkness retreat today. Have you ever been on one of those, Ryan?
Yeah, solitary confinement.
Yeah, I guess that would qualify. Yeah, I'm sure it would. So where do you think Aaron's going to – what do you think he figured out about himself in his darkness 4 days or whatever it was?
Egomaniacs with a bit of a self-esteem problem, which I think all NFL quarterbacks are, it's pretty tough being in your own head. So, I don't know what that did for him. I would go crazy, and I rightfully did in an instance like that. The meditation part, being able to be still, that there might be something to that. He's always kind of been a guy outside the box. It's helped him. It's made him who he is. He said when he comes out, he's going to have an answer to what his future holds. So, I suspect we'll hear something here sooner or later. I hope he does it sooner rather than later. I just
Right.
these off seasons with the just dragging things out is so self-absorbed. I feel like.
There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, what would be his best landing spot if he decides to play and doesn't want to be a Packer? And, he's 39 years old now. So, I mean, not that you can't play at 45. We just saw another guy do it. But, hey, he's no spring chicken anymore either.
Well, I wouldn't because the precedent is set by Tom Brady, lump it into like, oh, this is possible now. It's not normal, right? It's not normal to be able to do what Tom Brady was able to do. So I thought I saw a bit of a decline this year. I know he was banged up. I thought he had some weapons. I feel like the best chance for him to win a championship is to go back to Green Bay. I just don't think Green Bay wants that. I think they're in the same place they were when Brett Favre was to move on, and now they're going to most likely, ship him off somewhere. I suspect the Nathaniel Hackett hire in New York once again had some, precedent in terms of trying to get Aaron Rodgers. Let's put it this way. Aaron Rodgers has been to one Super Bowl in his 18-year career. The Jets haven't been to a Super Bowl in over 50 years. So, I mean, there would need to be a lot of shift and change. And also you're going to the AFC. Like if he stays in the NFC, he has a much better chance to get to the Super Bowl, I feel, than he does if he goes to play somewhere in the AFC.
Yeah, like we just talked about, all those quarterbacks, everybody's lined up. They got pass rushers, and everything's kind of against you. Ryan Leaf with us. Last thoughts here. Combine next week in Indianapolis. We'll be up there for Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. From Monday, we'll be on the air Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the Convention Center. What's your biggest memory of your Combine experience back in 1998, Ryan?
That Peyton and I ran it. I mean, we did whatever we wanted. We were going to be the first or second pick in the draft. It was done. So we didn't work out. We didn't do anything. We went to the medical things. I even skipped the medical thing for the Colts or an interview with the Colts coach because I had a medical thing. The medical thing was the only thing that was important. People needed to see we were okay. As long as we got a good bill of health, we were going to be the first or second pick. So it's much different now. Even if you're at the top, you go and you work out and you compete. And Peyton and I pretty much during that span, I remember talking to one another going, yeah, I'll have my workout in April for the scouts, but and there wasn't big interviews. Like the only two teams I even talked to was San Diego and Indianapolis. And then I didn't end up making the Indianapolis meeting because of a medical thing. So it's not like it is now where you go and visit with almost every team and there's conversations and there's questions and stuff like that. It may have gone a long way to seeing maybe if I was the head case that I ultimately became my first couple of years, that might have gone a long way for, some of the scouts during that process. But yeah, the most I remember is, showing up after kind of being on the banquet circuit after the Rose Bowl, picking up awards and hanging with boys after turning pro and drinking a bunch and showing up at just completely, biggest job interview of my life. And I show up at 268 pounds. I carried it okay, but no, it was not good weight. And so that should have been probably your first red flag that this dude isn't properly ready for what's ahead of him. So, that's what I remember from the Combine, just kind of a meat market, but pretty much telling everybody to go, kick rocks because I'm going to be the first or second pick anyway.
Is it overblown? Do we I mean, it's the NFL. It happens, right? Everything's got to be a big extravaganza now in the off season. That's just the way things are built or have been building in the league. And this is one of those. I mean, there's like 1,200 credentialed media at this thing, Ryan.
I think it's important for a couple reasons. I think for the medical aspect of things.
Yep.
In particular, with COVID over the last 4 years and understanding some of the heart implications and some things they may have not been tested for and stuff like that. So I think that's important, the medical side of things. I think the questioning, I think the stringent nature of the itinerary and the schedule to see how you conduct yourself in a structured environment. I think that's huge. The on the field stuff, I like the testing aspect of things. I like the athletic testing type of stuff. The throwing, the running, receivers running, that's not so that's just, we could all do that. I could go out in my underwear right now and throw the ball 65 yards down the field, right? It's just how it works, So all the other stuff that comes with it, I think, is important. The fact that the NFL has turned it into a moneymaker is just another example of the NFL, right? Kind of money-making propaganda machine is what they are, and they continue to do it. And to no surprise, to no surprise to me.
We'll be there next week. Ryan, good to see you. Thanks for the time. Tell Anna MacGyver hi, and we'll talk to you again down the line, man.
You bet, JP. Good to see you. Thanks, brother.
Ryan Leaf joining us. And, what a conversation there with a guy from the 1998 NFL Draft. He's really built things back well. He's all over media, NFL Network, ESPN College Football, Sirius XM NFL Radio, Westwood One games. I mean, the guy is all over the place and really has a unique insight as to the process. He went through it. It didn't go so well, and he's built things back, obviously, and good to hear from Ryan today. Plenty to come. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. Monster Jam coming to the bank. It's coming soon. It's a high-octane, family-friendly fun this Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. start time. The pit party at 2:30 in Lot J. Grab your tickets at Ticketmaster.com or experience the energy and style by reserving a suite. Call 904-633-2000 for more information. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
I'm Dr. Hughes, cardiovascular surgeon. The Florida Lottery has contributed billions of dollars to education, putting kids like me on the path to success.
And they've awarded countless Bright Future scholarships, helping me pursue higher education.
So I can do more than just dream of a brighter future.
I can create one.
The Florida Lottery is proud to help fund the futures of students all across our state. Learn more at flalottery.com/education.
It's here, Ford Truck Month. Come and get the best deals of the year on the only trucks built Ford tough. Drive home the rugged Ford F-150, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck 46 years straight and counting. But hurry in because these deals won't last forever. It's Ford Truck Month. Don't miss it. Come and get it at your local Ford dealer. Based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else. Publix delivery powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Reconnect with the best version of you at AMARA Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, AMARA Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, Emsculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There's some veteran players that have never been to the postseason. You know, there's even some second and third year guys that have never been to the postseason. So how they handle these next couple of months is critical to their performance, their success. And then when we start the off-season program, mid-April again, just where they are, mentally with starting another season. But it's truly a reset, at this point.
Doug Peterson, the 2 days after the end of the playoff run. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, no Jeff Lageman this week or next. He'll be with us in a couple weeks. We've had a few weeks away for a hiatus, and we are back, baby. Welcome to Jaguars Happy Hour. We'll be at the Combine next week in Indianapolis. John Oehser and I will be there with our entire crew from Jaguars.com. We'll chase around the general manager and head coach, Balke and Peterson, for a few days. And plenty of guests on the docket to join us in either podcast form or on shows or whatever the case may be, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Hey, the 2023 concert season is here, and there's no better time to become a Daily's Place Blue member than right now. Enjoy the best seats and amenities, premium parking, and more. And you can watch Kenny Chesney, Old Dominion, Yellow Card, and much more. For more information, email ticketing@boldevents.com or call 904-633-2000. Well, that's on the other end of TIAA Bank Field. On the northwest side, I suppose that is, it's the Miller Electric Center. If you're watching us on Jaguars.com and Jaguars social media, a live look outside. It's a beautiful sun-splashed day on the First Coast. Temperature in the 80s, I think. Partly cloudy sky, and there you have it. It is on track to open this summer, and the football team will move in there ahead of training camp and be ready to roll. The fields are being leveled out, it looks like. The building itself has glass on the outside now, so all the inside stuff's starting to happen. I haven't had a chance to walk through it yet, but I'm looking forward to whenever that first tour or whatever happens. They're starting to pour concrete outside the walkways leading into the stadium part. And training camp, as far as we know, this season will be held right there outside TIAA Bank Field for the first time in a little while. And, that's part of a lot going on around the stadium these days. The Four Seasons site, the Shipyards, has dirt moving there. No word yet on maybe there might be an official groundbreaking at some point, but there's nothing on the calendar as of yet. But they are moving some things around, at least starting the process there. There's a fence up, and there's dirt being moved. So that's a good step in the right direction. Of course, the Stadium of the Future talk is beginning, but nothing official on that front either. So there's a lot to come in the years for the Jaguars around the stadium. Let's take a quick look around the NFL. We mentioned it briefly with Ryan Leaf, but in the AFC South this week, the Tennessee Titans whacked 4 veterans to get below the salary cap. Left tackle Taylor Lewan, wide receiver Robert Woods, kicker Randy Bullock, and linebacker Zach Cunningham. They cleared nearly $38 million in cap space and $42 million in cash off their books for next season. Woods was there 1 year after he was traded from the Rams. Lewan was a 2014 first-round pick, but he had knee injuries the last 2 years and played only 7 games over that span. Eric Bieniemy named the assistant head coach and OC of the Washington Commanders. The press conference was today. He was the Chiefs OC from 18 to 22 and the running backs coach there from 2013 to 17. He's had a number of head coaching interviews that have not gone his way, and he makes the move over to Washington to maybe could change his fortunes in the future. He said he's focused only on this job at this moment. We mentioned it also with Ryan. Aaron Rodgers has emerged from his cave in Oregon, ending his darkness retreat, a 300-square-foot room in a partially underground structure with a queen bed, bathroom, and meditation mat. He's not really roughing it. It's fully powered. The lights can be turned on from inside the room. So it's really a hotel underground. Well, he said he had scheduled the 4 days and nights in that isolation and looking for a better sense of where he is in his life. He's 39 years old. He's under contract for $59.4 million with the Packers this season coming up. Vance Joseph, former Broncos head coach, has been named the Broncos defensive coordinator, going back to Denver to work under Sean Payton. That'll do it for our program today. Thanks to all our guests. And Fred Taylor, prior to the Jaguars running back, joining us at the top of the show. John Oehser, Jaguars.com senior writer, former second overall pick in 1998 and a media mogul these days. Ryan Leaf joining us as well. Our thanks to Brent Reber, David Cho, Joe Fortunato. I'm JP Shadrick. We will catch you next time in Indy next week on Jaguars Happy Hour.